Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The shuttle's engines shut down with a low, uneven hum, like a machine that was unsure it had done the right thing. Dr. Elias then felt the artificial gravity hesitate beneath his boots. For half a second, his stomach floated. Then the field locked into place, heavier than Earth standard, pressing him downward as if the station itself wanted him to remember where he stood. He exhaled slowly. "That's encouraging," he muttered. Outside the forward viewport stretched the Valori-conquered central station, a vast structure grown rather than built. Its surfaces curved like layered crystal petals, glowing softly with lines of light that pulsed in slow, deliberate rhythms. No angles were wasted. No surfaces were rough. It looked perfect. And perfection, Elias had learned, usually hid something fragile underneath. He adjusted the collar of his medical jacket out of habit. The thin fabric felt useless here, surrounded by technology centuries beyond human understanding. Still, it reminded him who he was. Not a soldier. Not a diplomat. Just a doctor. The hatch opened. Warm air spilled into the shuttle, carrying a scent that reminded Elias of clean metal and cold flowers. It was not unpleasant, but it was wrong in the way hospitals sometimes were. Too sterile, too controlled, like life was being tolerated rather than welcomed. They were waiting for him. Valori guards stood in perfect symmetry outside the hatch. Tall, slender, their armor flowed over their bodies like liquid glass, shifting subtly with each breath. Their faces were smooth and pale, almost human, but their long ears swept back along their skulls in rigid arcs. Every pair of eyes locked onto Elias with open dislike. He stepped forward anyway. A single figure stood at the center of the formation. Archmatron Celeries. She did not need introduction. The space around her seemed to acknowledge her authority before anyone else did. She was taller than the guards, her posture flawless, her long ears held high and unmoving. Her eyes were sharp, ancient, and already tired. "So," she said, her voice translated smoothly inside Elias' skull, "this is the human." Elias inclined his head, not a bow. He had read enough briefings to know the difference mattered. "Doctor," he corrected gently, "human is unfortunately permanent." No one reacted. He nodded to himself, worth a try. "You were not invited," Celeries continued. "Also permanent," Elias replied, then winced slightly. "Sorry, reflex." Her gaze hardened. "You are here because our science has failed," she said. "Do not mistake necessity for welcome." Elias glanced past her, toward the vast doors behind the guards. He couldn't see inside, but he could feel it. A wrongness. The kind that tugged at instincts built from years of emergency rooms and disaster zones. "With respect," he said carefully, "your envoys requested a medical consult regarding your daughter." Something flickered across Celeries' face. Anger. Grief. Fear. They layered so tightly, they pretended to be control. "My daughter does not require human interference." Elias met her gaze. "Every report I reviewed said your physicians exhausted all known treatments. Our science surpasses yours by centuries." "And yet," Elias said softly, "your child is still dying." The word landed badly. One of the guards shifted. Elias noted it distantly, filing it away under ways I might die today. Celery stepped closer. "You presume much." "I'm a doctor," Elias said. "Presuming is how we get through the day." Silence stretched between them, filled only by the deep harmonic pulse of the station's energy systems. Finally, Celeries turned. "You will examine her," she said. "You will not treat her. You will not experiment. And you will remember that you stand here by my tolerance alone." Elias followed as the guards moved aside. "I've had worse performance reviews," he murmured. The chamber where the child lay was quieter than the rest of the station. The walls absorbed sound and light alike, creating a space that felt sealed away from the universe. At the center floated a cradle of suspended energy fields. Inside it lay Princess Calith. At first glance she looked almost human, small, fragile, dark lashes resting against pale skin, but her long ears drooped slightly, lacking the proud tension Elias had seen in the others. She looked tired. Elias approached slowly, lowering his voice without thinking. "Hi," he said. "I'm Elias. I promise I have no idea how I ended up here either." Her eyes opened. They were too bright for someone so weak. She studied him with quiet curiosity, not fear, not hatred, just interest. "You sound different," she said. Elias smiled despite himself. "That happens a lot." Celeries watched from the edge of the chamber, arms folded, ears angled back, not aggressive but guarded. Elias activated his scanner. Data bloomed across the display, patterns folding into each other in ways that made no sense. Energy decay at the cellular level, not damage, not disease. More like confusion. Her body wasn't breaking. It was arguing with itself. "Well," Elias muttered, "that's new." Celery's voice cut in sharply. "Explain." He hesitated, then chose honesty. "Her cells don't agree on how to exist," he said. "It's not infection or poison. It's like her body can't decide which rules to follow." Calith frowned faintly. "They should share." Elias snorted before he could stop himself. "See, she's already ahead of most adults." For the first time since he arrived, something in the room shifted. Not trust. Attention. Celery said nothing, but her gaze lingered on him longer than before. Elias did not sleep that night. The guest chamber assigned to him was elegant in the way a polite interrogation room might be elegant. Smooth surfaces, adaptive lighting, nothing sharp, nothing that could be easily weaponized. He lay suspended on the rest platform, staring at a ceiling that slowly rearranged itself into calming geometric patterns. They were doing an excellent job of failing. He replayed the scanned data in his mind, the way Calith's cells flickered between stable states, the way the station's energy field pressed inward, enforcing harmony. Alien medicine treated reality like law. Human medicine treated it like negotiation. A soft tone sounded at the door. Elias sat up. "If this is an execution, I'd like 5 minutes to feel clever first." The door opened anyway. 2 attendants entered. "You are requested," one said, "to attend the princess." "Requested," Elias repeated, swinging his legs down. Such a friendly word. The chamber looked different now. Dimmer, quieter, Calith's breathing was shallow. Celery stood nearby, unmoving. "She spoke of colors not present," Celery said. "She asked if the walls were arguing." Elias winced, neurological echoes. "Not great but not catastrophic." Calith's eyes opened. "You came back." "Hard to resist," Elias said. "You're my most interesting patient." She smiled weakly. Elias studied the readings again. The decay was still there. But threaded through it was something else. Adaptation. Her body was responding, not to treatment. To him. To novelty. To difference. "You're not getting worse," he murmured. "You're negotiating." Celery's folded her arms. "You said you would not treat her." "I'm not," Elias said. "I'm listening." He adjusted the scanner, ignoring the warning tones. "This illness isn't attacking her," he said slowly. "It's rejecting the environment. Your station's energy field doesn't match her internal resonance." "That is impossible," Celery said. "She was born during a stellar flux," Elias replied. "Your star spiked while she was developing. She adapted before you could stop it." Silence fell thick and dangerous. "Our physician stabilized her," Celery said. I know, Elias said gently. That's the problem. He straightened. If you want her to live, he said, you'll have to let her be different. Celery stepped forward, towering over him. You would rewrite our doctrine. Elias met her gaze. I'd keep a kid alive. Caliph coughed softly. He smells like rain. Elias blinked. I have never been so insulted. Celerese closed her eyes. When she opened them, something had fractured. You will explain, she said, exactly what you would do. Elias exhaled. I'll need access to your biocrystals, he said. Permission to modify the field instead of suppressing it, and about 12 hours where no one arrests me. And if you fail? Elias looked at Caliph. Then you'll never have to see me again. For a long moment, Celery said nothing. Then she turned. Begin, she said, carefully. Elias activated the console. Okay, he said. So imagine the universe's badly tuned music. The medical corps of the Velori conquered did not sleep. It never had. Light flowed through crystal corridors like slow breath, machines humming in layered harmonies that had been perfected over centuries. Order ruled here, predictability, control. Dr. Elias Venn stood at the center of it, hands hovering over a console that treated physics like polite suggestion. Around him, Velori physicians watched in rigid silence. Their long ears twitched in agitation as unfamiliar human devices were integrated into systems older than human spaceflight. Biocrystals resonated softly. Energy lattices pulsed. Alarms flickered, then steadied. Princess Caliph lay in the suspended cradle, her small body surrounded by fields that shimmered and shifted like uncertain water. Archmatron Celery stood at the edge of the chamber, watching. If you destabilize the lattice, one physician said sharply, you risk the entire station. Elias didn't look up. Then it's a good thing I'm not destabilizing it. He adjusted a parameter, fingers moving with careful confidence. I'm loosening it. The physician's ears snapped back in outrage. You cannot loosen harmony. Elias finally glanced at them. You can, you just don't like what happens when you do. The lattice hummed louder. Caliph's breathing stuttered. Celery stepped forward. Explain now. Elias swallowed. Fear crept in at the edges of his calm, but he kept his voice steady. Your world enforces uniformity, he said. Everything inside it is expected to match one perfect state. Caliph doesn't, she never did. She was born here, Celery said. Yes, Elias replied. But she was born during a stellar surge. Her body adapted before your systems could lock her down. You spent her life forcing her to fit. He gestured to the readouts. That's not healing, that's pressure. The lattice vibrated, alarms rising again. Elias, Celery said quietly, if she worsens. I know, he said. I stop or you stop me. Caliph stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. It's loud, she whispered. Elias leaned closer, lowering his voice. I know, we're tuning it down. Don't make it quiet, she said. Just let it listen. Elias froze. Then smiled. Kid, he murmured, you're going to make textbooks very angry. He made the adjustment. The lattice shifted. Not violently. Not perfectly. It bent. The alarm screamed, then faltered. Caliph gasped once sharply. Celery's breath caught. Then the girl's chest rose again, smooth, easy. Color returned to her face, slow but unmistakable. The chamber fell silent. Data streams recalibrated. Systems argued, then settled into new patterns, not harmony. Balance. She's stabilizing, one physician whispered, disbelief threading their shared consciousness. Elias exhaled, hands finally trembling now that it was safe to let them. Yes, he said, she is. Caliph smiled faintly. Her long ears lifted, tension returning to them like strength remembered. "It feels bigger," she said. Celery stepped closer, eyes locked on her daughter. "Do you feel pain?" Caliph shook her head. "No, it feels like breathing." Something in Celery's cracked. She straightened quickly, reclaiming her composure like armor. "This is not finished." "No," Elias agreed. "She'll need gradual exposure, time, monitoring." "How long?" Celery's asked. Elias shrugged. "Longer than either of us wants, shorter than she deserves." Caliph reached out weakly, fingers brushing his sleeve. "You stayed," she said. "Yeah," Elias replied softly. "I did." The court learned of success the way courts always did, indirectly, inaccurately, and with unnecessary drama. By the time Elias reached the outer corridor, whispers had already spread. The human altered sacred systems. The human endangered the lattice. The human sang to the princess. Elias rubbed his eyes. "I did not sing," he muttered. "I barely hum." Inside the medical chamber, Celeries dismissed the physicians one by one. Alone now with her daughter and the human doctor, she studied the data in silence. "You altered doctrine," she said. "I altered pressure," Elias replied. "Doctrine did the rest." "You risked everything." He nodded. "That's usually how saving lives works." She turned to Caliph, watching her sleep peacefully for the first time in months. "She smiled today," Celeries said quietly. Elias allowed himself a small smile. "She told me my explanation was bad." Celeries blinked. "Bad." "Her word. She thinks the universe is more like arguing siblings." A pause. Then very faintly Celeries huffed, not quite a laugh. The court convened hours later. Elias stood at the center of a vast chamber, its ceiling alive with projected constellations. Elders filled the tiers, ears rigid with outrage, fear, and curiosity. Celeries took her throne. "The princess lives," she announced. The chamber erupted. "She lives," Celeries repeated, "and this human is the reason." An elder stepped forward. "He violated doctrine." "Yes," Celeries said. "He endangered the lattice." "Yes." "Correlation is not causation." Elias raised a hand. "Actually it is." Gasps rippled through the chamber. Celeries did not silence him. "Your treatment suppressed adaptation," Elias continued. "I didn't cure her. I stopped fighting who she is." Murmurs spread, sharp and uneasy. Celeries rose. "This discussion ends," she said. "The human remains, the treatment continues." "And if he fails," an elder demanded. Celeries' gaze did not waver. "Then I will bear that failure." Shock rippled through the court. Queens did not claim uncertainty. Later, on a balcony overlooking the glowing planet, Elias stood beside Celeries as energy storms traced slow arcs across the horizon. "You put your throne at risk," he said. "I put my daughter first," she replied. "I had forgotten the difference." "I hated your kind," she admitted, "for wars you did not personally fight." "That's usually how it goes," Elias said. "And yet," she continued, "you stayed." He shrugged. "Kids do that to people." Days passed. Caliph grew stronger. She walked unassisted, laughed. The palace adjusted around her slowly and inevitably. The court resisted, then adapted. Human and Velori physicians argued daily, learned slowly, together. One evening, Celeries stood beside Elias as he worked. "You trust uncertainty," she said. "I acknowledge it," he replied. "Big difference." Caliph leaned toward her mother. "He makes the room lighter." Celeries nodded. "I see that." The announcement came without warning. "I will name him my consort." The chamber froze. Elias dropped his cup. "I'm sorry," he said weakly. "I think my translator just fainted." "He brought my daughter back," Celeries said calmly. "That outweighs tradition." I did not propose, Elias added. I didn't even bring flowers. Myra, Celeries corrected herself. Caliph likes him. I do, Caliph said cheerfully. He doesn't lie. The court erupted. Celeries raised one hand. Silence fell. I announce intention, she said. Later, alone beneath the stars, she asked him, do you refuse? Elias thought of Caliph's laughter, of a world learning to bend instead of break. No, he said, I don't. The ceremony was simple. Endurance over spectacle. Elias spoke honestly. The vow was accepted not because it was perfect, but because it was human. Weeks later, he stood on the balcony again, Caliph running freely below. She will be watched, Celeries said. They always are, Elias replied, but she won't be alone. Neither would they. Humanity did not conquer the conquered. They stayed. They adapted. They refused to leave. And the galaxy quietly changed around them. And